we've been talking a bit this morning about will and God's will for us, which is perfect happiness now. We don't use the word will a lot anymore, except when you're getting ready to die and you write it out. That's my will. But let me just remind you of what it really simply means. It means I want. What do you want? That's your will. Now we use
What means I want?
the word want a lot. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. So we've got a lot of wills going here. So it's not ever that you don't have a will. You're using it all the time. You may regret a particular decision, namely that you wanted another gallon of ice cream to eat. Or you may not. But if you want to know about will, just ask yourself, what do you want? And we could fill in lots of general things. But happiness would certainly be fitting there. But we're not content with that general word. We want to be more specific. Because the ego says, well, you do know what you need for happiness, don't you? Well, I think I do. Maybe lunch would be good. Maybe raking the leaves would be, not exactly good, but necessary. I better get out there and do that. So in some sense, I want to rake leaves. In a very weak sense, I might add. And yet, it seems necessary. My house or my yard is sort of overwhelmed with leaves at this point. They're everywhere. They used to be up, now they're down. Most of them.
Isn't it really that until I do it, I only want to do it. But once I do it, it's because I willed to do it.
Right.
You move from want to will when you cross that line.
Right. At some point, I say to myself, I want to mow the yard. Translated means I don't want to mow the yard.
Right. Exactly.
Now. But nobody else is going to do it, you know. It'll get worse if I don't go ahead and do it. But once I start mowing the yard, I don't have to be like the little train that could keep telling myself, yes, I can, yes, I can. Once I it's not that hard, see, you know. Yeah. Once I'm out there pushing the lawnmower, I don't want to be pushed. I don't concern myself with that. I am just pushing the lawnmower, and I'm going to do it till I get done, sort of, or it quits on me. And then what the Course tells us about your will, as I see it, is that you don't know your will. Now, we actually know this at some level, but we are not deterred by that at all.
Right. Exactly.
I admit I don't know what I want, but I want that one. But I want to do this, you see.
Reminds me of that saying, don't confuse me with facts, my mind is made up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I already know what I want, and it will last at least for another minute or two. And then I guess I will decide again. In a certain sense, it's better to not want for too long. Just get up and do it. It works better for me. I'm not saying that it does for you. I don't know, but I've learned, and I'm being assisted by that in my elder years here, because I've learned that if Mary, that's my wife, tells me that she wants something done, I have two options. Do it right then or don't do it, because I will forget.
Oh.
If I don't do it right then, just write it off. The intention was there, but the follow-through just doesn't exist anymore. Bob, did you actually go do da-da-da? Oh, yeah, you did tell me that before, didn't you? Well, I forgot, you know. And so she's very aware of that, and is trying to get used to that. You know, I find it very convenient, actually. And that's probably what she has to struggle with. You're just finding that. You're just telling me you forget, you know.
It's a protected way of doing your will.
Yeah, that's right. It's my protection,
I can say I forgot.
and I'm almost always telling the truth.
Doesn't work with Sandy though. It's not much protection.
Yes,
So when we look at our wants, do our needs have anything to do with it?
I'd say they do. You get hungry, you want to eat. You know.
Perceived needs,
Now,
perceived needs.
You mean like food, shelter, clothing?
Yeah.
let me ask
Perceived
if,
needs.
is this one of them? Phil,
So our, it looks kinda like our whole problem is that we're just so needy,
is that every one of your, is that ever?
or we appear to be so needy. I guess really we're just spirit and, or only spirit.
Well, see, this is where needs come from. It comes from a feeling that of emptiness,
Lack.
lack, or,
Is that a feeling or a belief?
I don't know, it's just something I don't know. Guess it could be either.
Belief.
Yeah, it could be.
It could be, it certainly could be a belief, but I don't know if if you decide, well, I believe that I feel empty, then you begin to feel empty, I suppose. The Course says there is no emptiness in you. A lot of people do feel empty, and they're out searching to fill that which they call their emptiness, their empty place. And then if they can find someone that seems to fill that place, they feel, oh, this is great. I found a friend here. Let's join with this person. And that's actually the basis, the Course says, for a special relationship. If you will fill my need, then I will fill yours, fill your need. That's the word that I'm putting there. And because I'm empty, I see that you're empty, I'll fill yours, you fill mine. And I used to draw, I've drawn a picture in some book or other saying what it is. There's this little guy here, I'll just redraw the picture here. And then there's another one over here. And this one's saying, I'm an empty bucket, fill my need. This one's saying, well, gee, I'm an empty bucket too, fill my need. And so you engage in this effort to fill your need. Now, that's called a special relationship. The Course says if you want a holy relationship, you must not start it from a sense of emptiness. In other words, if you start it there, the ship's already sinking. You know, we're at day one. Because of the fact that, and I think we all know this, if I feel I'm empty, let me tell you, you can't fill that. You do not have the ability or wherewithal or whatever. You just, for one thing, it's not even true. So how can you fill a drawer that's not empty? Because I'm not empty. But it's just that I think that I am. For some reason, well, I'm not. That's what the ego tells you. You know, you're not good enough. God's not going to put anything in you. He's not going to bring you perfect happiness. Forget that. You don't have any happiness. Forget perfect happiness. Okay? So you've got to go out and find it someplace else out there. And you start your relationships off then. I might as well give you some arms, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, what's he gonna pour his bucket with?
Yeah, right. Kind of hard to do if you don't have any arms.
I don't have any arms, can I have yours?
But this is
Just fill my bucket,
the
I'll fill
idea,
yours.
as the Course calls it, of a special relationship. And it's all based on, well, honey, I need you to do this. Well, honey, I will, but will you do this for me? In other words, I'm not saying this is a sin, by the way. There's nothing wrong with doing that. If you want to do that, that's fine. But what I am saying, it is what the Course calls a special relationship. And there is not, you're not gonna find the satisfaction that you want in a special relationship because it's too easy for it to fail. What normally happens, it seems to me, the whole idea of relying on you, some one or two of you, to fill my need, that's kind of that concerns me a little bit, because you may not be up to the task. In fact, I happen to know that you're not. You're not quite good enough. Every once in a while, you just get barely up to that place of being good enough, but you won't stay there, see? You cooked me a good meal yesterday, but today, what's this on the table? Soup? I don't like soup. Something, the task of if someone were to come to me and say, Bob, I want you to fill all my needs, I say, you need to go elsewhere. Just keep walking. Find another. That's not something, because it's not that I'm mean. That's a whole other issue. But it's just not, I'm not able to do that. And I'm not even going to try. And now that doesn't mean, by the way, that other people cannot contribute to your happiness. You see. So just take a real simple example. I have a cat, and when I drive into the driveway with my car, she's way over there, and I get out of the car, she sees it's me, she runs. Doesn't walk, but she bounds across the yard coming to see me. Well, that makes me smile a bit. Y'all don't do that. I've never. There's no people coming out of the houses across the street, or even from my house that run. Of course, at our age, there's a question of can you run? There's always can you still do that?
We'll all run out in the parking lot to greet you next week.
Right. I'll probably get back in the car and say, something's wrong with them. I gotta get out of here.
Aliens are taking over what I do.
They must think I want money or something.
How you know your relationship with the cat's not special?
Oh, that's a good question. How do I know my relationship with my cat? I have a great advantage with the cat. It can't talk. This really helps, I think, a lot in it not being special. If the cat could talk, I'm not sure I would even want to encourage that. But because then it would say, well, Dad, I'm sure she thinks of me as Dad. You don't come running to me when you see me. I've never seen you look and see me in the other yard and just charge towards you. First of all, I'd scare her off.
Yeah.
So why should I do that? But if you can talk, it really does become more complicated. Because you can say, yesterday I did 3 things for you. Today you've done only 2. It's just dumb stuff. But at the time it doesn't. Once you get into it, it doesn't seem dumb. I really helped you a lot yesterday. I was good to you yesterday. And you were mediocre to me, and today you're worse. I mean, is anybody in here willing to say that you have found another person that satisfies all your needs, or that is capable to totally remove any sense of emptiness or lack that you might have? If there is, I don't want to see your hand. It just goes too much against the grain of what I'm talking about. I don't want to just say I don't believe you. So I'd rather just not know. What is it,
The
man?
cat is communicating with you by running to you, and only you. He's showing that he has a special relationship with you that he signifies when he comes running to you every time you come home. He doesn't come running to me.
That may be. I really don't know what's going on in
It's because Bob feeds her.
It is her, by the way.
She's hungry
And
when
Bob
he gets home.
feeds her, and Bob pets her, and says she's a great kitty. Attention. And I have done so since she was 6 weeks old. So she's got a long history of that.
In a holy relationship like what we attempt to
Well,
have with
just
God.
just one thing. I'm not sure animals have a potential for a whole relationship. I just have no idea, but people do. And so, if she probably does, I would say that she does have a special relationship with me, but it's kind of meaningless. You know, I mean, so what?
So what?
By the way, I did ask a psychic about that, come to think about it. I didn't use those terms, an animal psychic about that one time, because when she was growing up, she thought my legs were tree trunks. And she wanted to sharpen her claws on my legs. And she's very bullheaded, you know, to say no, I don't mean anything. Unless you say it awful loud, and I don't want to be saying it awful loud all the time. You push her off, that doesn't make a difference. Tree trunk's still there, we can do it again. In other words, it was really difficult, and I decided, you know, I just don't want to have my legs turned into a bunch of red marks. That's not my fault. I do not want that. There's the want. That's not what I want. And so I wasn't sure I could, and I didn't want to harm her. You know, I don't want to be carrying a stick around and trying to use cane to stop her. I'm sure that would just simply scare the animal. She still might not know why I was hitting her. I just don't want to do that anyhow. So I said, what can I do about this? And I said, well, I could have her claws taken off. You know, that's a pretty drastic thing, but you can, I don't know whether they still do that or not.
They
But
do, they do, yeah.
I don't know. They used to, I know.
They trim them sometimes.
Yeah, they could trim them. I said, well, you know, I could just take her back to where she came from. She came from a group of feral cats. Her mother would be there, and maybe I could just take her back there. But I'm not going to have my legs turned into cutting boards, you know, for cat claws. And so I asked a psychic, I said, what does Emmy feel about these two ideas? How does that move forward? She said, and Emmy, presumably, this is what the psychic told me at any rate, said, well, if you cut my claws, I would lose my sense of balance, so I really wouldn't like that. I've never thought about that. Okay. And she says, if you return me to where I was, she says, I will be lost without Daddy. But I'm flexible, and I would adjust. Well, if she has that big a feeling about Daddy, by the in case she didn't put that together, that's me. Then I said, well, I'm going to keep her, period. We'll figure something out here. And so I didn't know that I was that important to the kitty. I didn't know that. And I said, if I'm that important, then I definitely want to be useful and helpful. And so anyway, that does sound a little bit like a special relationship to me, but with a bit of healthiness in it, because she wouldn't say, oh, please don't leave me. Oh, God, don't leave. She didn't go to that. She just said, I'm flexible. I would adjust. See, now that doesn't remind me of specialness. So I don't know whether you want to call it special or not. It's not clear to me. It has a little bit of specialness in it, but it also has a little bit of a very healthy way. Emmy didn't say that she was empty, because she was flexible and she would adjust. She just says, just right now, everything centers on Daddy here. See? Yeah.
When I asked that question originally, I asked if there's a difference between wants and needs. And as I'm looking at what we've got up there and see that need to fill my empty space, as if filling an empty space would change it in some way. What's empty about the space anyway? Don't you really need it to fill the separation?
Well, I didn't mean to bring up the idea of space there so much. It's just that some people believe they have to search outside themselves for something that they fit. To feel empty, as I understand it, is to be out of touch with yourself. Because the Course says there is no emptiness in you. You have been created perfect. How can something that is perfect have an emptiness? That doesn't exactly.
Whole and complete.
Huh?
Whole and complete.
Whole and complete. You know, the Course does truly say that you don't need anything from out there, and that doesn't mean your body doesn't. I'm talking about you. I'm not talking about your body. Yes, your body needs oxygen. You don't have to. We all know that. Body needs lots of stuff. You know, various other things as well. but you don't. It's not you that needs oxygen, it is your body. It's just that we tend to make such an strong identification with the body that we think we do. But we need to remember, it's only the body that needs that. You're not the body. When it comes time to leave, you just leave it. You won't think anything about it. Well, I don't know that, because there are different kinds of people. I'm just guessing that you won't care. But if you do, the universe is going to say, well, we'll just give you another one then. There's no that will be an option. And so at that point, you'll have to ask yourself, do I want to have a body again? Or am I fine with, I'm talking about a physical body, or am I fine without one? So you get to make up your own mind. It's like God allows us to want and allows us to decide what it is we want, no matter how poor a decision that might be, or good, whichever. But he says there's a better way to go about this. Just let the Holy Spirit inform you what the solution is for what you want. In other words, instead of saying, I want, okay, this, the Holy Spirit, the Course says, leave it blank. God, there's something I want. I don't know what it is. Please bring it. Okay, there's something I seem to want here, but I'm not quite sure what it is. You might think, well, I do. I think it's I need to go get in my car and drive to Chattanooga or something. Well, you might, but you also know that you don't really know that you want that. Halfway to Chattanooga, you're outside. I wish I was home. I mean, we are so ridiculous about what we want. And we kind of know that, you see. So if once we get this, now, but the whole thing is about deciding that you need something from outside. And so you're not in touch with yourself. And of course, particularly the lessons, it seems to helps us do this, because they say all kinds of things. You know, I am the light of the world. If you're the light of the world, what do you mean you're empty? Okay. I'm God's holy son. If you're God's holy son, you are perfect. You can't be empty. Empty means, what empty means is, it's going to start with a belief. There's something out there in the world that I need that I don't have, and I got to get it if I possibly can.
I changed fear into that word instead of empty. Fear is a better one for me, because then I know if there's only love and fear, I know I'm out of whack, I suppose, of
That's
what I'm
right.
trying to do.
Fear is here because there's I'm empty. Well, of course I'm afraid. I may not be able to fill it. And I may not be able to convince one of you poor guys to do it for me. At least not for very long, you know. Or without, you know. So there is a fear there that this need, this emptiness will not be filled. And the Course says that emptiness, of course it won't be filled. It's not there. How can you fill a drawer that's already full? You see. In other words, what we're saying is that God is my fullness, and I share that with all my brothers, and I'm neither alone nor empty at all, and there's nothing in the world that I need. I can enjoy the world, I can share it with other people if I want, whatever. I can say to heck with the world, I don't need it anymore. But the Holy Spirit, you may need it if you're not healed. If you're not healed, the world is still useful to you, because the Holy Spirit will use it to help heal your mind. And it's a wonderful thing in that respect. But there's not anything in it that actually fills an emptiness in you. There is no emptiness in you. Anytime you say that I'm not quite as good as that guy over there because he can run a race faster than I can, you're verging on emptiness, because you're kind of suggesting that, well, I need to be able to run as fast as he can, see, in order to feel good about myself. Basically, empty means I don't feel good about myself. I've been saying it's not in touch with yourself as you really are. What's there instead is I don't feel good about myself. And that is the root problem, I guess. And the Course addresses it directly by saying, not only are you good enough, but you're perfect. And it says even that God is happy with you. He's pleased with you. No matter how many mistakes you make, no matter how much emptiness you think you have, he'll still pleased with you because he knows you still as he created you. He doesn't know this empty stuff. He knows there's no such thing. You see? You have no excuse for unhappiness except I want it, and I put my specific there, and then I don't get it, so I program myself to be unhappy when I don't get what I want. Isn't that funny? I mean, I fill this in of my own ideas. This is mine. I don't get it, or I don't get enough of it, whichever. Or if it's a special relationship, maybe I got enough of it for a week or two, but now, it's running. The well's running a little dry here, and so if I don't get this, then I know I'm supposed to feel unhappy. We don't say it that way, but it's already programmed in there.
Right.
You don't have to remind yourself, oh, Bob, you're supposed to be unhappy now. It just pops in. Just like that little eagle thing, it just pops in. The ego doesn't wait for your invitation, give it the slightest opening, and here it comes. And this is a big opening for it. So that's why the Course says, you don't know what you want. Don't make decisions about what you want. Just ask the Holy Spirit to make your decisions for you. Okay? And it said, all you got to do is say, decide for me, and it's done. Now, a lot of people don't want to go there. They say, you're taking my will away from me. Because my will is, I want my thing here, whatever that might be. And the Course says, your will is an illusion. It's fake. It doesn't work. You've got a perfect will, your true will. But if you're not in touch with yourself, how can you be in touch with your true will? See? And it seems like the whole of life centers on the question of what you want. What do you want? And if you come across somebody that says nothing, well, I'm going to say, well, you must already have it. You must already have it because you're not wanting for anything. And that's really the truth, by the way. So but most people have this thing, and then they got another one, and another one. Yeah. And their main problem in life is deciding to which to go after today. See, I want some more money. I want some more food. I want some more friends. I want a bigger family. I want some more dogs or cats or whatever. And the Courses say, well, just check that out with the Holy Spirit. He knows what you want. You don't. You don't really know. And so you just know you do. If you have a feeling of, well, I want something, okay, fine. Check with the Holy Spirit and say to the Holy Spirit, I'm wanting something, I don't know what, please take care of me today. Please make my decisions for me today. You see, because I don't know what I want. And it has been my experience that the Holy Spirit will do that for you. You don't have to do that. I used to go on walks when I was single. I went on walks a little more. And to sort of combat what I want, that kind of feeling, I would, as I'm walking, I would say I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be with this step. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be with that step. If I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, I want nothing. If I'm not where I'm supposed to be, there's something I'm wanting that I don't have. It's like I remember there was one 4th of July that came and the kids didn't call and I didn't have anything to do. I went for a walk every step. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Instead of the ego saying, well, you should be in the 4th of July or whatever I said, celebration with your kids. Says who? Who says? You see? Well, if I'm perfect, I don't need that. That's something that could happen to some, not happen. Besides, 4th of July, 4 is just a number. July is just a word. Actually, all I know is there's a street here and there's sunshine up there. That's all I need to know.
So God's will is perfect happiness, not our want.
God's will for us is perfect happiness. Oh yeah, He doesn't. He is not designed to satisfy your wants. He is not your special
You're not Santa
Yeah,
Claus.
I think of your special relationship. And some people, I think, do have a special relationship with God. God, listen, if you'll bless me in my business next year,
I'll make a bigger donation.
I'll make a bigger donation, or I'll actually go to church, maybe. I'll talk to my wife next year, okay? If you'll just do that, or my kids, whatever. You
Yeah.
know. And so that's kind of a, you do this, I do that. It is a bargain, and that has nothing to do with the relationship, your true relationship with God, because His view of you doesn't change, and He is not concerned about your wants, because He knows that they're not coming from a basis of what you truly will be happy with. What He wants for you is perfect happiness now, and He knows how to give it to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, why don't we join in a circle, we'll have a closing prayer.